Is that? Son of a bitch. Well, you guys know that my computer just rebooted because that's what happens when the computer reboots. It just deletes my microphone and I gotta set it all up again. Anyway, as I was saying for the 2 minutes until I realized everyone was yelling no sound at me, is that the implied volatility for GameStop is getting real small. Smaller than we usually see it, which allows us to perchance buy more options at better prices further out so that when things do get crazy and they go, woo, then you have an opportunity to just rake it in. So keep that in mind. That's really the only headline I had right off the top of the show. Yeah, it's Friday. It's all on you guys. Entertain me. Stupid microphone. Off. Okay. Jason Blackwell. Hey, Houston. Tell Monkey Butt to quit chasing rabbits. It's got to be frustrating losing by a hair. Boo. Boo. That one was bad. Chris Collins. Thoughts on meeting on the 18th with Gary Gensler and people saying the committee have questions regarding MMTLP. They're trying to tinfoil hat Acme parent company offering end date with that. I have no idea what they will ask at their hearing on the 18th. Checking in with Gary Gensler. I would hope that someone would bring up MMTLP. It would be wonderful. I would love to get in someone's ear and be like, hey, ask this question, and see how he responds and answers. I think it'd be good. Like, you can ask specific questions regarding MMTLP, but I think it'd also be good to ask specific questions regarding the monitoring of FINRA and how that happens, because it appears that the SEC is supposed to watch FINRA and they don't. They let FINRA just kind of do what they do, and the SEC never steps in and goes, hey guys, probably shouldn't do it that way, because that's the rule. That's what FINRA's claiming in their court cases, is that, whoa, well, you can't sue me. The only people who can tell me what to do is the SEC. So, okay, SEC, what is it you do to make sure FINRA is doing what they should be doing and not doing what they shouldn't be doing? That would be sort of the line of questioning I would dive down in tandem, I guess, with specifically MMTLP and the fact that they were allowed to continue having shorts and increasing short positions on a company that doesn't trade without ever giving out the dividend of the paper shares to a host of the people who own the stock. So, yeah. Someone in Congress, give me a call. I'll give you a list of things to talk about. OAS for your ass. Hey, Houston. Hello. Singing in the shower is fun until soap gets in your mouth and it becomes a soap opera. God damn it. You guys, tonight, a guy told me one. He was like, I think my shoelaces, what do you say? I got new shoelaces and I'm not doing very well. I'd be tripping. And I was like, that's fucking terrible. Go to your room. All right. Chris Collins, also thoughts on Rose's comment, goings on in front or behind scenes? I don't know. What's Rose up to? Let's open up. Got that. Nope, you're on the wrong side. You're supposed to go over there. Open you up. Close that. Close that. Close that. Close that. Okay. Go there. Do that. Go to Chrome. There we go. Okay. Let's see what Rosa's up to. I have no idea. Rosa, what are you up to? Probably sleeping right now. American law firm announces lawsuits against FINRA for violation of the Sherman Act several months ago. Okay, that's clouded cream for the first time. Why do we have this in America? Okay, that's not about it. We got it. Sorry, an ad popped up. This is what you do when you get ads on Twitter. You just block them and they disappear forever. And eventually you start getting ads in like Cyrillic and Japanese, and then you stop getting ads for 3 months, which I managed. I had no ads from before Christmas until about 2 weeks ago, and then ads started showing up again. Oh well. I don't know what that's about. Thank you everyone for the kind comments, support. That's about her passing Texas bar. Good job. Okay. Oh, another ad. You guys just, block it, Kindercare. Okay. I have no idea what comments you're talking about because I don't see anything in here. Don't know. Oh, son of a... This is not my night. I am tripping and falling all over myself. I forgot to turn off the daytime one. Just take 5, guys. Just take 5. Take 5. Okay. A glass of water, send her my chi. So, don't know Chris Collins. I don't know what's going on, friends, behind the scenes. You may have to send me whatever comment it is that she was talking about. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, Houston. This time, when the economy crashes, it's going to be hilarious to see how the media tries to change the narrative. I hope all the big players fight one another. Hope you get it on a talk show. They will definitely eat each other. That's what happened. The last time everything collapsed is when all the hedge funds started naked shorting institutions and banks. And so Congress had to quickly pass a law saying no naked shorting of financial institutions. You cannot do that because, well, as we've seen, banks are really susceptible right now. So why not short banks? And if you can short banks like SVB, right, that no longer exists, you could naked short it and never have to pay back those shares because the shares do not exist. So if you had the power to naked short banks, my guess is you naked short the hell out of them right now. So they will gladly eat their own and then blame each other for it. So yes, I think you're right. There'll be lots of finger pointing. There'll be a group that'll try to point the finger at us, but we didn't print $10 trillion. We didn't naked short the entire economy. We didn't bust up the supply chain. We had nothing to do with interest rates or egg shortages or anything else. It's going to be on these private equity guys and not on us. Oh my God. Mo West for your West. Hey Houston, what did one plate of food whisper to the empty plate next to it? Dinner's on me. It's just gonna be dad joke puns forever and ever. Not my name. Happy birthday, Houston. I drove by Minneapolis Wells Fargo mortgage building, and its entire glass wall, meant to be a scenic, was filled to the top with "you're fired" boxes with regional banks. Well, that sounds like it. I mean, they don't do mortgages anymore. So everyone who's related to mortgages at Wells Fargo is fired. I find it very curious because, in a year when the economy's gone kaput and they're printing money like crazy again and lending out this money, they're going to be encouraged to start lending. Who are they going to hire? Are they going to have to try and hire away mortgage people from someone else? Or are they going to be like, hey, sorry, we fired you a year ago. I know you have all this expertise and years of being a mortgage broker, but would you come back? And they're going to be like, fuck you. Pay me twice as much. Be my guess. Now my name, holding toxic. With regional banks holding toxic assets not marked to market, as Bloomberg put it, how long can cans be kicked? Especially with Florida flooding, adding new insurance claims that I heard were unpayable. That's actually a good point. The crazy amounts of rain happening in like Fort Lauderdale and elsewhere, at the same time that insurance policies are lapsing all over Florida because insurance has gotten crazy expensive. Julius from Miami, he sent me a thing yesterday that showed these people that had $1,000 a year was their homeowner's insurance, right, for flooding, hurricanes, etc., is now $7,000 a year. So it's up 700% in a year because DeSantis did not keep any of the insurance companies in check. He was too busy, caring about Disneyland being gay or whatever. And now homeowners insurances have lapsed all over the state. I can imagine that there's an appreciable percentage. Let's say 30%, 40% of homeowners insurances have lapsed. And now these homes are flood damaged and they're not going to be able to get repaired or replaced. What happens when people have flood damaged homes that can't get fixed? They're homeless. The houses rot, especially in a place like Florida with the humidity and everything. Houses just rot and collapse. And then you have derelict homes all over, which will then cause home prices to just collapse in general, because no one likes entire streets full of derelict, empty homes. It does not seem like a recipe for success to have such high insurance prices when you're a state who gets hit by flooding and hurricanes and stuff all the time. Seems like there's a better way to go about that than what they're currently doing. And you know what? Some lessons have to be learned the hard way. Sometimes you got to touch the hot stove to figure out that that's a hot stove and you shouldn't touch it. So, smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. I'm not sure. I don't think Ron DeSantis is particularly either of those. Big Mac 8000. Hey Houston, how do you feel about BlackRock and GME? I can't get a read on them. I think they're friendly, but might be selling shares to short. Any idea? I have a feeling that BlackRock's probably lending like crazy. That they probably lent their shares a dozen times over. My original theory was that the groups like BlackRock, they buy 1 million shares, then they lend out 1 million shares, and then they buy 1 million shares, and then they lend out 1 million shares. And they do that over and over and over and over and over again, so that when you look at like Morningstar data or whatever, and it shows like institutional fund investment, you'll see for certain groups like 2021, GameStop, like 300% of the float was claimed to be owned by institutions like BlackRock. And my feeling is the institutions like BlackRock, the way they see it is like, if there's a squeeze, they'll be forced to buy 1 million shares, give us those 1 million shares to pay us back, and then they'll have to buy those 1 million shares all over again and give them back to us to pay us back, and then buy those 1 million shares all over again. Let's do it again and again and again. It's why S3 changed the way they calculated short interest in, October 2020? Because these shares had been purchased, lent out, purchased, lent out, purchased, lent out dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And so all of a sudden the short interest would be like 270% on a stock. And so they changed the way they calculated it to one cycle of lending. So if you had 1 million shares and you lent them out and it never got paid back, but you purchased those 1 million shares, so you now have 2 million shares on record, even though it's the same 1 million, it's been lent out twice now. S3 would only count one of those lendings, not two of them, even though you're technically short on 2 million shares if you've borrowed that same million twice. And I think when S3 decided to do that, I think that was an injustice to the market in general for calculating short interest, because we know that this stuff gets shorted over and over and over, and no one ever closes their positions. They just make more of them. And I would wish that was it Eeyore Dabrowski or whatever his name is. I would wish that they would go back to the old system of counting every single time it's been lent out towards their calculations for short interest. Yanni says, there's no friendly actors. What drives the market is pure self-interest. True. Not my name. Random question number 2. I'm watching Air and recently seen Apple's Tetris. Thoughts on big corps pushing out movies to glamorize their work? Either 1, to spark new ideas, or 2, make themselves look like... Okay, I gotta go past everyone telling me that I suck. Oh, where'd you go? Finger pinch, what's getting smaller? Oh, not my... Oh, I lost not my name with the second part of what you were trying to say. But trying to make themselves look, I don't know, corporate friendly. Yeah, these new corporate movies are pretty interesting because it does advertise the products for people. That's for sure. I've heard the Tetris one is really good. Someone was telling me about it. Might have been in the chat. I don't know. It's more like a documentary of how Tetris like came to be than like Super Mario Brothers movie, which is about the game, like the characters of the game. But yeah, there's always like there was the Roy Kroc McDonald's movie. What was another one that happened recently? Oh, Ford versus Ferrari, things like that. That, you know, they're tilted towards the corporate side. But, you know, a Colonel Sanders movie would be way more entertaining. That guy was a weirdo. Like, true to Colonel Sanders being a weirdo type movie. Okay, now I gotta scroll past the everybody telling me they can't hear, 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 can't hear. Nicole Tisdale finally caught live chat Houston and think you're hot. Well, thank you, Nicole. You and Jimmy D can slug it out. Scott Lumley, hey, Houston. Did you know that all ants are female? It's true. Otherwise, some of them would be uncles. That's Scott Lumley. That joke was done last show. Worded differently, but no. That was done last show. Shame on you. Okay. Doc Breezy, Houston, what does one icicle say to the other on a sunny day? Bicycle. Oh. Hey, here we go. Coordinates. How about that? Take us away from this monkey business. Coordinates. Good old-fashioned coordinates. And, of course, Google Earth is shut down because the computer rebooted. Give it a moment. It's coming. Nope, and you're in the wrong screen. Got to go over to this monitor. Nope, over to this monitor, you dick. There we go. All right. Bam. Shaboom, shabing, shabing. Where are we going? We're going to Africa. We're going to some mountain. We're going to a volcano. What volcano are we? This is Oidoino Lengai. Oidoino Lengai. How tall are you? 9,200. Got caldera. Got a pit crater over here off to the side. Anything else interesting about the volcano? It's very conical. That's a good-looking volcano right there. That's part of the East African Rift Zone. This is a volcano on the Rift Zone. That is a beautiful volcano. Look at that thing. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I got a little cinder cone over yonder. I like it. Okay. Good volcano. No one living out here. Absolutely just barren. Got a couple of roads to go past it. Okay, tell me about yourself. Oidoino Lengai. The active volcano in Tanzania consists of a volcanic cone with 2 craters, the northern which has erupted during historical time. Uniquely for volcanoes on Earth, it has erupted nitrocarbonate, a usual cold and highly fluid type magma. These things are cool. This is magma chambers are pushing up through the earth, and it warms limestone and melts the limestone and makes basically limestone volcanoes, and it looks like a chocolate fondue. They're crazy. I may have shown videos of it before in all my geology classes. I show videos of these carbonate volcanoes. Let me see if I can find one. Carbonate volcano videos. Bam. Oh, hell yeah. Here we go. All right. Turn you off. Put you on. Is this what we want? Oops, no. Not you. Not you. Go back. This is what we want. This stuff. Oh, don't do an ad. No one wants ads. Go away, ads. And someone else is making money off. You're getting hundreds of people to view your ads for free right now. Oh, keep going, TurboTax. All right, check these suckers out. Boom. That's volcanic rock. Isn't that crazy? Kind of sounds like farts too when it goes. That's volcanic rock. That's melted limestone. Bubble, bubble, bubble. That is magma. That is carbonate magma. It's because ancient seafloors, little bits of limestone, getting heated by magma and turned into a volcano that basically is like the runs. This is just farts coming out of a volcano. It's like little pohoy flows of limestone. They're crazy looking. And it's not super hot. I mean, it'll burn you, but it's like 600 degrees rather than like 2,500 degrees is what you'd expect out of like basalt in Hawaii. Yeah, it's just really, really, really runny. It is farty little farts. Look at that. Just looks like your puppy just gushed everywhere. Yep. Carbonate volcanoes are so weird. I do want to go like play with one. I want to poke that with a stick. Fart. That's a cool laminar flow on that one. Little poots. Yep, everyone just watches the Earth just poot away. And like that changes colors. Goes from like black to brown to white because it turns back into limestone again. That's cool. I love that stuff. Oh, we could just watch all 2 minutes and 30 seconds of this. Look at this one. That one's like a little fire hose. Isn't that cool? When we do our Africa trips, we're going to have to go here and watch this volcano fart away. Oh, I love it so much. Okay, that's enough of that. Go back. Good spot. Good spot there, Patrick Squires. I dig it. Okay. SJ, I saw that coming when you only said off once. God damn it. Why don't you tell me? Second intro. Do the off twice, you idiot. Okay. Michael Mystery, all those cocktails make you forget to turn off the intros. I know. I'm just covered in them. Hibiscus flowers and martini glasses. And a pasta jar full of moonshine. Citizen 54, Blackstone is building a $30 billion fund to buy real estate. So much for cheap homes after the collapse. We need laws against corporate landlords of single-family homes. I think there needs to be laws in general about owning multiple properties. I would reason that at most a human being should own at most 4 homes. Any company, entity, fund, family, 4 homes. It gives you a regular home, vacation home, 2 rentals, right? Maybe one for your mom, who knows? Owning more than 4 homes, that home gets sold out from under you. There should not be corporations owning hundreds of thousands of homes. There should not be companies owning, 30, 40,000 homes in a single market. That stuff should not exist. Housing should be treated more like a human right than a speculative interest for huge corporations. I don't think there should be landlords that have 50, 100,000 homes. Go get a job, man. Get a real job. Let people afford their homes. And I also don't think that Airbnb should I really don't think Airbnb should exist. Maybe you have a tourist section of town, some condo development on the beach in Hawaii that's nothing but a tourist mecca. Okay, you can have condos to rent out, operated by a hotel company or whatever. But I'm dropping my lens cap. But you shouldn't. Neighborhoods shouldn't be full of empty houses just for vacationers, because you can make more money doing Airbnb a few nights a week than you can renting to somebody who needs a home and works and lives in your community. Just end it. I mean, so much of rent prices are sky high because homes that should have families in them are being rented out instead of hotel rooms. And I don't know. Plus, Airbnb sucks. They're expensive, and it's annoying. Like, I've come to the realization, as someone who's a single traveler most of the time, it's so much easier to go to a hotel. It's cheaper, like $100 a night versus $150 a night. And that $100 a night usually includes continental breakfast. Someone washes my sheets and cleans the bathroom and does a lot of stuff for me, and I don't have to do it. So there's no cleaning fee involved. Just I got concierge. I could do room service. You know, you can't do those things with Airbnb. I mean, yeah, if there's gonna be like 10 of you, okay, sure. Get an Airbnb, mansion, whatever. But I just think that this whole Airbnb and giant corporations buying up all the property is going to doom us forever. And that all I have to do is say, no, you can't do that. And it's over. Housing prices come down, rents come down. People can live much more easily, have disposable income, do the things they want to do, get the nice cars and the houses and the custom kitchens and delivery. What's that? Yeah, color TVs. That's what Monkey says. Yes, she's a Dire Straits fan. Okay. Meat Stub Houston should do shorts like Hank Green. I don't know who Hank Green is, but does he do awesome shorts? Tatiana Popova, any comments on what happened with Acme Company today? Well, if you're going to offer shares and you're going to sell them, you have to have some sort of outlook that makes people go, maybe this is a good deal right now. They don't have any debt, which is a pretty good deal. Not having like hundreds of millions of dollars in debt means that they could leverage right in the near term and not have to worry about diluting. But I think more than anything, what they need is a sales team. They need some people to sell some stuff and start getting money for their products. That seems to be what the key for any company should be. If you're going to make something, you got to figure out how to sell it to someone. Oh, as for you asked, why did Billy get fired from the banana factory? He kept throwing away the bent ones? What? All right, any UK people just waking up right now? When I was in London last time, I forgot to check this, but I heard people in the UK don't buy bent bananas. All the bananas are like perfectly straight, and that's what they buy. Is it true? Is it true that people in the UK only buy bent bananas? Or sorry, only buy straight bananas? Because US, it wouldn't even occur to us that bananas can be straight. I have to look this up. UK loves straight bananas. Is it you? Audience member on Question Time has claimed she changed her vote in the EU referendum after seeing a straight banana in a shop. Wait, what? Okay. Okay, I get it. What? All right, this might be okay. The Question Time audience member says she voted for Brexit at last minute because a banana is straight. Oh, because she saw bananas that weren't straight in Europe and was terrified. She changed her vote 2016 after seeing a straight banana in a shop. During discussion, Britain's future after Brexit, the woman said she was in favor of staying in the EU until she came across the government body's silly restrictions. I was willing to remain. In the last minute, I changed my decision and I went to leave, she explained. And the reason is because I go to the supermarket and a banana is straight. I'm sick of the silly rules that come out of Europe. Panel members on the show were debating whether Britain would be economically better off after Brexit following Bank of England. Woman added, it was more than bananas. The fact that there's more opportunities out there that we need to see as a country. What? If you go to Aldi, they're a bit bent, she replied. Because that's how bananas naturally grow. Yeah, so straight bananas are a thing in the UK. Let's see if we can get some images of straight bananas here. Images, UK, straight bananas. Yeah. Straight bananas in UK. Straight bananas. Straight bananas. Straight bananas. Everywhere else in the world, they're bent. But yeah, straight bananas. Okay. So maybe Billy was just from the UK. That's what it was down to there, Moas. JWeb, any news on Sears? There is some sort of move to deny motion regarding moving on with the bankruptcy that lawyer for Eddie Lampert did. Basically saying like, oh, Sears, there's like 23,000 people who claim Sears owes them money, so you can't be done with bankruptcy. But the whole point of bankruptcy is that you take the unsecured debt and you just stick it in a slingshot and fire it away and it's gone. And then you start over. So I don't think that motion's going to go anywhere. It just seems to be like slowing things down. Just let bankruptcy be done and either start over with Sears or sell off their assets and be done with it. Just pick one. I was pussyfooting around and letting bankruptcy sit there forever. And there's a dog over my shoulder who probably wants a blanket. Is that what you want? I take this right here and I go, woo! We accept it? No? You just want to stare at me? That's okay. You can stare at me. Oh, scratch the brain. It's gonna scratch that brain out of her skull. Just, yeah. Okay. Well, where'd it go? Ah, crap. I just lost my spot again. Michael, mystery. Higher home insurance makes mortgages automatically go up, triggering more defaults. Truth. And a lot of people in Florida, they have their mortgage. They've got crazy HOA dues, especially with the special assessments that are going on all over Florida since the collapse of that apartment building. So already high mortgages, freakishly high HOAs because special assessments, and now crazy high insurance price on top of that. And you may have mortgage insurance as well because you may have gotten a loan 20% down. So the monthly payments people are gonna be doing in the denser areas, Miami, Palm Beach, Daytona Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, places like that. The prices are going to get really insane. You're going to start getting defaults like crazy. I think you're right there, Michael Mystery. Steve, happy birthday, Houston. Do you think Planet X exists? So there's two types of Planet X. I should put that this way. So Planet X number 1 is known as Nemesis. And that is a planet that's at the exact opposite of the sun, or of the Earth from the sun. So the sun's in the middle. There's two of us. There's Earth and there's Planet X, and they rotate at exactly the same rate at the exact same orbit. There's been a couple weird sci-fi movies about Planet X, that there's like an entire Earth that's evolved and we've never seen it because it's always on the other side of the sun. Exactly. And then there's Planet X, which is either the 9th planet or a large or irregular rock that's out there that's messing with us. There's also a thought that there could be brown dwarf or a small M-class star that was like the sun's twin, because most star systems are binary, usually 2 stars form. And this one is really far away. So either there's a large planet or there's a very small sun that's trillions of miles away. And that this thing passes through like the Oort cloud and launches a whole bunch of comets at us every, few thousand years. And then it does a big orbit and it passes the Oort cloud again and just launches a whole bunch of comets at us. I don't know. We found all sorts of planetoids. Got Sedna and Xerxes and Gabrielle, and they named a whole bunch of them after like Xena Warrior Princess characters. But those are largely dwarf planets that aren't in the plane of the galaxy. So you got the planets around the plane. They all kind of orbit the same way in the same plane as the sun spins. And then you got these things that orbit in like weird elliptical patterns, and they're small and they're strange, and some of them are like oval shaped and they're just weird. Those are our dwarf planets, and those are technically what Pluto is, like hyperbelt object, because Pluto isn't in the plane of the galaxy. It's off by about 20%. It doesn't control its own orbit. Neptune controls its orbit because it passes inside Neptune's orbit. So every 200 years or so, technically, Pluto is closer to the sun than Neptune is, and its orbit is dictated by the path of Neptune. So that's why they demoted it from planet to dwarf planet. I don't think Nemesis exists, and I think it's a very small possibility there's a brown dwarf or an M-class star that's way out by the Oort cloud that every once in a while just throws a bunch of comets our way and causes mass extinctions. I think the odds are greater than 1, but I don't give them too high. We're pretty good at finding this stuff now, especially with telescopes like Pan-STARRS that can do wide surveys of the sky for anything that moves around out there. Okay. Striking Viking is a monkey butt admirer. Here's a monkey butt admirer. Yay! Thank you, Striking Viking. MacroTurf. Is there any truth to the market's upkeep because retail won't capitulate? Why does the man keep telling us the only way the market goes is to sell? Don't understand. Okay. So we know that everything right now is kind of inflated. That the values we're ascribing to these securities are not what they should be worth. They should be worth a lot less than they are, right? And what the big boys need is for us to buy. They need us to like bag hold everything. They're going to dump everything onto us and be like, peace. And then everything's going to collapse, right? That's the goal, is to leave us holding the bags. Now, and then they scoop in with their cash and buy everything up for cheap from us after we're forced to sell when the Dow halves or whatever. But right now, we're not just the ones buying. The Fed, the Federal Reserve, is buying. They've purchased in the last 2 years over $8 trillion in securities. And when the banks started collapsing, they started buying back again. So the minute the Fed stops buying, they go, no. And then they start selling for real because they're doing quantitative tightening and they have to offload these securities. Even all the buying from retail and anyone else is not going to be able to compete with the dumping of $8 trillion in securities that the Fed will have on hand. That is when prices are going to fall. And the Fed may have to do it because they may have to come up with cash to bail people out, which is going to be weird because the act of them trying to come up with cash is going to cause the market to collapse. And because the market is collapsing, they're going to have to get more cash to bail people out. So it's going to be kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, when it finally happens. And everyone's going to yell at them because they allowed this system to get as large as it did. They should have let more correction happen, I think, in 2020 than they did. Like, yeah, send money to people who aren't working because, it's a giant planet-wide health crisis. But at the same time, like, let the market correct a little bit. This is a good excuse to let it do some correcting, and that should allow you to like build from the printing you were doing. But instead, they're like, well, we're going to pump you up and give all these people money, and then everything's going to be up, and then inflation during a supply chain crisis. So I don't necessarily see a way out that's a soft landing. They always talk about soft landing, but I think when the shit hits the fan, all you can do is like cover your mouth and eyes and hope that nothing gets in your ears. So, yeah, MacroTurf. Why should retail capitulate if no one else is at the moment? Did planet Nibiru exist? A Jamaican man. Planet Nibiru. Planet Nibiru, into hypothetical planet X, Neptune-sized planet orbits your sun, highly elongated orbit, far beyond Pluto. Oh, that Nibiru is the name of a gas giant that we'd have that would be way out there. Then that'd be the thing that would throw comets at us. Possible. I mean, when you get far enough out there and you aren't getting very much light from the sun, it's hard to reflect back. So we might not see it with our current technology. But who knows? Who knows if James Webb might be able to see it? I don't know. Liquid rock. He's gonna wait till you discover wax. Hoshi Gaming. You always come on after I have fat edible. Favorite snake type? Okay. Well, first of all, either I always come on after fat edible, or you're just always having fat edibles. Favorite snake type. Favorite snake type. Sidewinders are funny because they wind through sideways through sand dunes because that's how they move. But I think my favorite snake is not a snake, but a legless skink. That is my favorite snake type. Legless skink. Look them up. They're lizards. They're not snakes. They're skinks. They lost their legs and now have to move like snakes. They're weird. Legless. Let's check this out. All right. So, this is not a snake. 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 This is a lizard that lost its legs and now moves like a snake. They're skinks. And there are skinks with legs, but these are legless skinks. Look at the little faces. They always look like they're just upset. But yeah, they move just like snakes. They look like snakes, but they're not snakes. So you can tell their heads. A giant legless skink looks upset. Bibberun's blind snake looks like some sort of weird worm, and then common slug eater. I disapprove. Snort. And then that one doesn't even look like his mouth. Yeah. So they are legless skinks. A lot of them are in Africa. Some of them I think in Australia too. Yeah, there's some in Australia. There's legless skinks in California? No way. Yeah, there's California legless lizard. How about that? I didn't know there was some in California. Yeah, okay. So we do have some in Florida too, huh? So there's some legless skinks in Florida. There you go. Florida's legless lizards. So my favorite snakes are not snakes at all. How about that? Boom. Learn something new. Bananas and snakes, how gay. Let's talk about hot dogs next. All right. Michael Mystery, Costco has monkey butts jerky treats about half off this month. Oh yeah. You know what? We didn't do one last show, so let's Oh. Is this what you're looking for, monkey? Yeah. It's been a long day. been a long day without some beef jerky things. It's so beefy. Oh goodness, it's so beefy. It is the beefiest thing in the world. You want it? You want it? Oh, that's how much you want it? Okay, well, come get it. Come on. Come on. Hey, don't be gentle. There you go. All right, eat that one. Make everyone happy, because I love it when the monkey bucket treats. Yeah? And the monkey camp. Get your face in there. There we go. Okay. Is that delicious? Good dog. Good dog. You got your food. Okay. Mount Zeret, Houston, do you still think we will trade MMTLP? I'm losing hope here. Why not? I mean, it's the only way they can close those positions is for trading to be allowed. And the only way they'll close it is if they're forced to close positions. So we still have about a month to hear back from the courts, in at least Rose's case. I have no idea the timeline in the other cases. That's it, dude. There's no more. That's it. Yes, you're a good dog. So, you know, we just gotta just see what the court says. I really hope that there's a way that Rosa can get in the latest stuff from the Frequently Asked Questions and the Freedom of Information Act request, the SEC, that involved emails to FINRA saying, hey, there's fraud going on. Weeks ahead of FINRA ever acknowledging or doing anything about MMTLP. Eli Banks, I'm sick of these queer bananas. A banana is meant to be straight. All right. B2B brand. So doing week-long booths at conventions with high-ranking people from your company is bad PR move that may be better handled by a small train team? I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I guess we got them gay bananas. Killer Reed, happy birthday, Houston. Man, you're getting old while these birthdays. Could be interesting seeing the media try and change the narrative when MOAS happens. Hope to see you on talk shows and Reddit memes. It's been a while since Jason Blackwell's the only one who memes me anymore. Once I didn't have to go on Reddit anymore, they stopped memeing me over there. Because I've been on Reddit having to like read everything, but you guys just you read it all and send it to me, and I just accumulate. I don't have to go searching for it. I don't have time to go searching for it. I'm reading too much stuff you guys send me all day long. Guitar stuff. Houston, I lived in the UK for 5 years. Never heard of this banana thing. I mean, I didn't go verify when I was there. It's one of the things I should have done. It's been like, take me to your straight bananas. But apparently, in at least some areas, it's a thing. They don't want those curved bananas at all. B2B brand, Florida's going underwater, and everyone that lives there will deny it until they're all using boats to get around. Probably. It happens slowly. That all of a sudden we're kayaking to work. BOFH, Houston, I remember hearing home prices in the future will be obscene because the value of the home won't be the value of the land, etc., but the value of the rent that can be collected from it. Yeah. I watched this video the other day that was about ghost cities in China. And we've talked about ghost cities in the past on here, that they largely were they're like Bitcoin. Like you would purchase this crumbling house that was built by a giant real estate conglomerate, not because you intend to live there, but because you could then tell a potential bride, like, hey, I own property. And they'd be like, oh my God, wow. And then at some point you could sell that property to the next fool who came along and whatever. And these guys were talking about, like, you know, the weird upside downness of it, in that you could buy a home that was never meant to be lived in. It was just a shell with a bunch of broken plastic crap in it for $2 million, and your mortgage would be insane. 15,000 yuan a month or something would be your mortgage. And you could rent a home that could be lived in the city where people actually live and do things for 1,000 yuan a month. But if you wanted to buy that home, the mortgage would be like 10,000. So that's some upside downness for sure. Whereas in the US, rent has to be more than the mortgage because every home that's purchased is purchased on spec, right? Well, I'm going to buy this home, I'm going to rent it, and they're going to pay my mortgage for me. That's the entire, that's how it works in the US. Whereas other people, they just have homes that they've owned for 1,000 years and they rent it out because people need to live places, and the rental market is so competitive that the prices can remain fairly low. But here, the landlords all use the same app, and they all collectively withhold property from the market and coordinate with each other to raise rents on everyone. And so it's antitrust violations as far as I'm concerned. Anxiety Lord, gotta stop watching. 6 a.m., 16-hour flight. I'll watch the plane. You should do an extra long one. That's not gonna happen tonight, man. It's late enough as it is. I'm an hour into it, and I'm already like, whoo. BFH, man, that's why BlackRock is buying up cheap homes now, because the price is now minuscule compared to the values they will be later. Yeah. Eli Banks, I'm from Series B. Series B is the white dwarf that orbits Sirius, I believe. Nova's come off of there. You moan that plant sounds like a terrible neighbor. Very terrible neighbor. Carl Alit. Some YouTubers are saying AMC will get delisted if it goes below $1, and that we need reverse split to save from delisting. If so, why are there stocks in New York Stock Exchange that are well below $1? There are stocks on the stock exchange that are below $1, but they usually get, if they're below $1 for, I think it's 90 days, they get a warning that they got to go above $1, and they've got 180 days to do it. So that's how that happens. And sometimes they can get extensions, like Mullen's been below $1 basically forever. I'm not sure what concessions and extensions they have, but there is some sort of way to apply for approval to be allowed an extension to get your stock price up. Yeah. BDB brand talking about skinks, pink-bellied ones, common in North Carolina. I personally have never seen a skink in the wild. I've only seen them at zoos. I don't think we have any skinks here in Washington that I could find. South Africa, blue, Florida, pet, Australia, California, baby species. I don't think. Arizona's got some. Namibia, golden brown. Southern California, legless. Burton legless. Lizard, natural rules. Nope. I don't think there's any in Washington I can check out. But they're weird little guys. They look like if a worm and a snake had a baby. MLW Fishing Man. Hello, everyone. Hello, MLW Fishing Man. BDB brand, from what I understand, after 2 years, the DTC will purge information of private companies from their books. So you're talking about MMTLP possibly being purged from their books? Sincere 206, can and should Rosa file another lawsuit in Texas federal court once she's certified in that state? I don't know if she could, because I think because she'd be filing for herself. She have to file in the district where her home, where the injury happened. So she could represent somebody in Texas and sue in that federal court. But I don't know otherwise. Fabrizio, GME Houston, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about that company you can't talk about. SEC approved some kind of expungement proposal for FINRA? This is BS. I don't know. Lay it on me. I would love to see. I'd love to see that there. They laid an expungement proposal. Like, we waive all your problems. You no longer are bad. Is that what the expungement is? What are you doing, dog? What are you doing? What? What's going on? She's just staring at the door. Oh crap, I'm at the bottom. I did it. It's Friday night, it's late. All the Euros haven't woken up yet. They're still sleeping in. And I got nothing. I apologize, Anxiety Lord. This may be the shortest show in history because I got nothing else. Okay, and on C-SPAN, I represent public employees in a small, dense Florida county. How would you word a request to protect our most vulnerable employees that have lost their rights? Have meeting with politicians next month. Ooh. So as like, are you like a union rep? Is that what you are? Man, how would you word it? I mean, the Florida government's not going to listen to you. The state government does not care at all. They won't. They'll be like, screw you, hippies. And that's probably the response you're going to get. And when everyone looks for jobs elsewhere and the county government no longer has a workforce, I would assume then there'll be regrets. But until then, they're going to be cocky and treat you like crap. Yeah, I don't know exactly how to word that with DeSantis because I don't think anyone in the state government's going to listen to you unless you're a police officer because they bleed blue. But that's all I can think of. But I want the locals to just get medical benefits to get us out of state. Yeah. Good luck. I don't see much hope with a change in administration. They're not state, county. Okay, county level. Well, how much of the county budget comes from the state for that stuff, or is it all funded from local taxes and no remittances from the state? Yeah, that's. I'm at the ponder on that. I'm not sure what you can do. Maybe, I don't know, talk to county commissioners, see if they have any connections, or if they might not care about you at all. But if they do care about you, maybe talk to them. Age American Mon, happy birthday. Can you tell me about potash ponds? What is that about? Okay, potash ponds. Okay, these things are really pretty. They're gorgeous. They make beautiful blue colors. Got some pictures there. Every once in a while, people send me to the really pretty ones like near Moab. So like they make these beautiful rainbow colors and stuff. I make that big. Yeah, these like this is the one near Moab. They make these beautiful, beautiful rainbow colors. So when you mine the potash, it's a water soluble evaporate. So you put it in these ponds, and then as it evaporates, it leaves behind the higher density material you want. So the potash water soluble potassium salt is a solution mined from the Paradox Formation more than 3,000 feet below ground. Water from the Colorado River is injected down through a well into the potash bearing strata where it dissolves the salts. Resulting brine from different well is pumped into the evaporation ponds. Blue dye is added to the water to enhance evaporation, so it absorbs more light. The dye increases the absorption of sunlight, therefore increases the rate of evaporation. As evaporation progresses, the ponds become shallower and turn shades of light blue, while the potash precipitates out of the solution is deposited in the bottom of the pond. The pond turns into a tarnished brown color, and when nearly all the water has evaporated, the potash is ready to be harvested. So they pump the stuff out of the ground with water, dump it into ponds, and the ponds eventually evaporate, leaving a nice crust of potash. So there you go. That's how you get your potassium chlorides. And you can make glass and soap and batteries and all sorts of stuff out of them after that. So here's sort of an idea of how it happens. Got all this stuff down here. You pump a bunch of water on one side. It turns this into solution. And then they pump it back out. And then the brine gets pumped into a pond where it evaporates. Pretty cool system. Right? So the one's down near Moab. There you go. Science. Okay. Jay, do you think that the leaked docs show that the U.S. is using Ukraine and the purpose of our involvement is to weaken Russia and not save Ukraine? I think it's both. You want to stop Russia in its tracks because Russia will move on to taking Moldova, will move on to threatening Poland, will move on to other nations in Europe. So you have to stop them where they are. And that is job number one. You stop Russia where it is. Otherwise, they would have moved further and been a bigger headache for everybody, possibly threatening NATO countries, which would then be, Article 1, and then everyone goes to war. Number two, it's a really cheap way to take Russia off the board. We're spending a fraction of what we did in Iraq or Afghanistan, and it is wiping out Russia. The number of deaths suffered by Russian soldiers is at World War II levels. Like, in 4.5 years of U.S. being involved in World War II, we lost 400,000 soldiers. In 1 year and change of Russia being involved in Ukraine, they've lost 200,000. So the losses are just insurmountable. And the amount of money being spent by Russia is just draining their coffers. Their economy is really starting to suffer. Their workforce is suffering because so many men have fled the country and or been conscripted and sent off to die that entire businesses and industries are failing. They have problems in the defense industry because while Russia supposedly had, people who were exempt from being conscripted because, they build tanks or aircraft parts or whatever, recruiters still went in and conscripted them. So people were taking off assembly lines for the war machine, put into World War II fatigues and sent to Bakhmut to go get slaughtered by a World War I machine gun that's on an elevated position. It's crazy. And so then all of a sudden Russia doesn't have tank barrels. There are no new tank barrels for Russian tanks, and the accuracy is dwindling on those tanks as a result of the barrels wearing out, and the barrels are exploding, killing the tankers. So there's a definite downstream effect happening as Russia gets more desperate to try and find people they can send to the front. And the U.S. government and NATO and the EU are just like, well, yeah, we'll send some more Leopards your way. How about some more HIMARS? Maybe we'll send some Atacams, and we'll start training some pilots on F-16s. But here's some Bradleys and some M1s, and I don't know, another 2 million rounds of ammunition, and another 1 million mortars, and some helicopters. And this is our scraps. We don't need it. This stuff has been sitting in our warehouses waiting for, Red Dawn in 1985, and we've got newer, cooler stuff now. So they can have all that they want. They can have our surplus store. So I don't really see, if Russia was smart, which they're not, they would go, oh, all right, we'll just pull out and give everything back. But what they see is we can't pull out because there's a whole bunch of natural gas and lithium in Donbass, and we need the ports in Crimea because Crimea is beautiful and isn't a shithole like the rest of Russia. So we need those things because everything else is everything. What's the Finnish saying? Everything in Russia is shit except for piss. That's the Finnish saying about Russia. Everything in Russia is shit except for piss. It's one of my favorite sayings. Yeah, they're like in a damned if I do, damned if I don't type situation. So here we sit. Here we sit waiting. Whiskey, capital letters. I don't like to strain chat room users' eyes if I use small letters. Okay. Oh, people type in all caps. All right. All right. And on C-SPAN, we're heavy beach county. Well, so you got tourism at least for you. Want them to feel guilty. Most of these people are not bad people. I don't know if they can feel guilt, Anon. They might feel a loss, like when they lose something. But guilt, they'll never feel it. And when they do lose, they're going to blame someone else and never accept blame because, you know, that's not who Ron is. Ron is incapable of feeling remorse. So all he can try to do is like get angry and try to fight back. Like he's trying to do with Disney. And Disney is going to absolutely eat that guy's lunch. He has no, like Disney was just waiting for him to get all pissy and be like, we're going to find a way to get around this Reedy Creek project. And Disney's like, delicious. We're going to own you. And my guess is that Ron's going to get hit with something that involves, you know, his government retaliating against a private corporation for free speech. And Disney is going to own Ron DeSantis in Florida for like the next cajillion years. And on SPAN, it's the entire group of commissioners and 5 other elected appointing authorities. They do have the power to help out the county itself, but it's going to have to be framed as providing support. Like, hey, Florida, your tax base is larger than it has been. How about kicking some our way? We could totally use it. That might be some sort of way I have to word it. Fabrizio GME, apparently that dude that killed the BLM person during the protests is actually a huge racist that wanted to kill people that night. Yeah, he was texting back and forth with people saying, I'm going to drive my car into a crowd and kill some people because I hate black people. And then he drove his car into a crowd and started killing people because he hated black people. So it might not behoove Greg Abbott to actually give that guy a pardon since it was premeditated, since he was like, this is what I'm going to do. And then he went and did it. That to me says premeditated murder and zero lack of remorse on that guy's part. So don't pardon him since he was trying to basically start a race war. Yeah, just don't do that, Greg Abbott. It'll look really bad for yourself, especially as a dude probably drive another crowd and shoot some people again. On C-SPAN, and they know I'm elected by the employees, small office. They don't want to be on the record as hating women. These aren't state-level Republicans. Agree on Russia. Okay, yeah. Maybe like a letter that says sort of like, this is what's going on with us and why we might need some support from the state. That might be like, we have to provide these services in this county because we have such a large tourist population. Yada, 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 helps improve the economy. We can do these things with these programs. Do it almost like a grant proposal, right? Show them what you need, what they can provide, and how you would use that to benefit the greater good. It would ultimately like help the pockets of their big donors. That might be the way to do it. Fabrizio, do you ever talk about the kid leaking docs on Discord? How do you get them? We talked a little bit about yesterday that, I mean, this is the most pathetic. Oh my gosh, it's so pathetic. Like, okay, you get caught in a honeypot trap, you nail some former Olympic gymnast or something that's a spy for Russia. Good for you. At least you got something out of it that was like unbelievable, right? Or, you know, they got compromise on you, or they bribe you, like you end up spying on your own government because there's some sort of, you're compromised, you're double agent, you're getting blowjobs, whatever it is. This dude, literally, some 13-year-old was mouthing off on Minecraft Discord server. A Minecraft Discord server. And this dude was like, you guys are a bunch of betas. I'm the only man amongst you. And you know, I work for the government. I do secret stuff. And this 13-year-old kid was like, no, you don't, you liar cuck. And this guy was like, oh, yeah? And he started leaking top secret information to impress some middle schooler on a Discord server. And now he's going to be either spending the rest of his life in prison or getting hanged for violating the Espionage Act. You're going to spend the rest of your life in prison because you're trying to prove to some 13-year-old that you weren't a beta cuck. Even Monkey is looking at me with like sheer disbelief in her eyes right now. She's like, I cannot believe that's exactly how that happened. Like, this kid, if he isn't hanged for crimes against the state, he's going to be at Leavenworth for the rest of his life. Right? And his war stories aren't going to be like, yeah, me and Svetlana, we're going to rule the world, baby. But it turns out she was a Russian spy. Oops. Win some, you lose some. That's going to be like, I got into a flame war on Discord, and then I am in prison for the rest of my life. Oh my gosh. It's so dumb. It's just the dumbest, stupidest, dumbest thing in the entire world. Oh. Anyway, moving on from that idiot. Monkey, what do you want? What do you want? You just want to be a cute dog? You want to do helicopter ears? Is that what you're looking for? Oh yeah. Oh, that's the stuff. Okay. I don't have any more food. That's it. I gave you all the food I have. Is this your I hear coyotes off in the distance and I want to run outside and go murder things face? That might be what it is. She probably hears things off in the distance and she's like, send me outside so I can go murder stuff. You got to wait another 30-ish minutes or so. Cool? Yeah? All right, cool. Where was I? On C-SPAN, aren't they sistering the barrels now? I don't know. There were some issues they were having where they were trying to take like tanks that had 120 millimeter barrels and putting 155 millimeter barrels on them and vice versa to like get them to be useful, but they're having a hard time like swapping out the actual, munitions to make it work. Because, the 120s are shorter than 155s, and when you have the firing pins, you got to do all that stuff. I just don't think they have I don't think they have the parts to do it. They're constantly having to like gobble up all of the cannibalize all their other systems. It's just not a good way to go. What you need warehouses full of spare parts, and then you put those spare parts in a truck and you take them out and you just rebuild. We're learning that our issue with the supply on demand, right? Like, my little store supply on demand. You order a goofy my fish wears a mattress shirt. They press a button on the computer and it goes, prints out the shirt, puts it in a box, sends it to you. Cool. That's great. But if you have things like an F-35 fighter, you cannot have supply on demand if there's a war, because the factory gets boomed, there are no parts. So you need strategic warehouses storing these things all over the place. And what they're discovering is, because we create the supply and demand with our F-35s, is that when F-35 is a problem, the part doesn't show up, especially when there's supply chain issues. And so they're forced to cannibalize other planes. This is what happened to a lot of the jets in Russia, is that they didn't have warehouse supplies, so they cannibalized them all. So they might have 5,000 jets, but only 500 of them work because the rest of them are there for parts. It's like a redneck's front yard. So there's an article I read the other day about how they're going to strategically, because of national security interests, they're going to have to go back to the old system with the F-35s, what they had for every other plane in existence, which is you warehouse parts. You build one jet, you make 4 parts for it for every single solitary piece of that jet, and you put it in warehouses. That's what we did for everything from B-52s, F-4 Phantoms, F-14s, F-15s, F-16s. All those things have huge warehouses with tons of parts. And you know what? Those weren't trillion-dollar programs who still managed to do it. So that's kind of what the lesson we're learning on those. Plus, they can't fly in the rain for some reason. Okay. Ron Johnson, if you're traveling in deep space and suddenly have a reroute and stop to investigate a planetoid or asteroid, how do you stop without blowing all your fuel? You don't. You're gonna have to use your fuel to stop when flying in space. That's pretty much the only way to do it, as far as I know. Maybe there's ways you can use gyroscopes to, I don't know, change momentum, do stuff like that. But since there's no atmosphere, there's no resistance. There's if you coast, you're going to be going at the same speed you were going at, because there's no resistance to slow you down. There is a possibility for sort of a scramjet ramjet situation. Let me see if I can draw this out. I'm going to go there, open that guy up. You go over here. Okay. I need to make you bigger. How about that? Go here. I'm going to turn you off. Turn you on. There we go. Okay. Okay, so where'd my mouse go? My mouse is not showing up. There it is. Okay. Go up here. Go to brushes. Go to the big size brush so people can see it. All right. So in space, you have, these interstellar space. You got like the 40,000 particles per cubic centimeter, right? So it's not very dense. It's, Earth is much denser. It is much denser than like our solar system, which the sun blows all that dust away. But you got, these random particles flowing throughout. Now, the SR-71 Blackbird, the big spy plane that travels 3,000 miles an hour at 100,000 feet. 100,000 feet, you have to wear a spacesuit. There's not enough oxygen for you to breathe. Your body will basically just explode and you'll die. So you wear a spacesuit, you have pressurized air. The jet is going so fast, and it's traveling through this not very dense air, but it manages to collect so much in a short period of time because of how fast it's traveling. It can take in the equivalent of 100,000 people breathing in at once. Right? That's how much air that jet's able to collect because it's going so fast through these particles. Now, it's theorized that if you have a fusion reactor of some kind, right? You can use hydrogen fuels, whatever. That if you have some sort of giant intake on your jet, right? And we're just gonna make like a little alien spaceship for us. There we go. Little alien guy in there. He's waving at everybody. Hi, what's up? I'm flying a plane. And you have this big intake. And if you travel fast enough through space, you can gather up enough hydrogen particles. You're approaching like near the speed of light, essentially. So you might have a fuel tank on board that gets you up to speed, but as you're traveling through, you can gobble up enough particles, even though it's not very dense, because of basically you're dilating space and time. You're traveling so fast, you're compressing all this material, and you're traveling, 100,000 miles in a second, right? Maybe more, maybe up to 300,000, 300,000 kilometers a second. So you're going close to the speed of light. Now, imagine, right? You need, let's say, 1 billion hydrogen particles a second to make your reactor work, right? And you have 1 particle every meter that your machine can gobble up. It's about 1 meter across, whatever, so that's your big intake. And you're traveling 300,000 kilometers in a second, right? So 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. And you're doing 1,000 times 300,000, so you're at 300 million particles a second that you're able to gobble up with your intake machine. That's if there's 1 particle per cubic meter. But in this case, we're at 40,000 particles per cubic centimeter. So you're able to get well past your 1 billion particles by harvesting through your intake on this big jet here. If you're traveling fast enough, right? It's going and sucking it all up. So it's as if you're standing still, breathing all those things in, but instead you're traveling fast enough to gather it all. Does that make sense? Does that work for you guys? Stuff you speculate on in your modern physics classes. All right. Where was I? That one. But anyways, yeah, how to stop? You'd have to gather enough fuel. They wouldn't just burn it all, but have enough left over in reserve. So you could stop and start again. That would be how you have to do it. Because the only way you can stop is to backburn or flip the ship around and keep the burners going the way they are. ET Tech Houston, Vulture Systems, anti-gravity. Well, if anti-gravity existed, you could totally do that. I'm cheering for the big corporation because it's nice seeing ego get wrecked. It is, Disney's evil. By watching Disney destroy Iran is, I'd say there's some schadenfreude there. Billionaire, when Jerome Powell raise interest up 25 points next month, watch out, next bank run. I think he might. I think he might raise it just a little bit more, and then he might step back a little bit. Or he'll step back this month and raise it next month. But they're still going to have to keep raising interest rates because they have to get interest rates above inflation rate, and they still aren't quite there yet. It's like just below 6% inflation, and they got to get it below 5. The only way they can do that is by raising interest rates more. Aaron James, happy birthday, Houston. Fellow Washingtonian here. Just back from vacation on the Big Island. All right. Thank you for the advice. Check out Mauna Kea Observatory. Killer views. Excellent. I'm glad you went up there. Did you do any hikes while you're up there? Did you go to Lake Waiau, which is the belly button of the universe? It's the highest alpine lake in America at over 12,000 feet. It's cool. The ancient Hawaiians, when the child was born, they used to hike up to Lake Waiau with the umbilical cord and throw the umbilical cord in it. And so there's like hundreds of generations of Hawaiian umbilical cords that have been in that lake. And the last time I went there, there was a hippie swimming, skinny dipping in it. And I was like, that is an alpine petri dish. Don't get out. Not only is it offensive to the Hawaiian people, it's also really gross. Get out of the belly button of the universe. Don't swim in Lake Waiau. You should Lake Waiau. Why not? We did some Google Earthing. Let's do some more Google Earthing. Go back to Google Earth. Okay, we're going to leave this volcano. Head across the planet to another volcano. Da-da-da, and almost the antipode. Hawaii is almost the exact antipode of where we just were. Okay, back to Big Island. Big Island. Mauna Kea. Mauna Kea. Mauna Kea, Mauna Kea, Mauna Kea, Mauna Kea, Mauna Kea, Mauna Kea. Okay, here's all the telescopes, right? Up here at the top, the actual summit over here. There's a little, you park your car, do this little trail hike, hike the trail, hike the trail, hike the trail. And there's an adze quarry. So the adze is where this pillow basalt formed underneath glaciers and it's really dense rock, and that's what you make your stone tools out of. But this is Lake Waiau. And Lake Waiau, they think is at the edge of a little glacial moraine, because during ice ages there actually were glaciers up here. And they don't quite know why the lake stays here. If there's clay or something, and they're scared to drill a hole because it might drain the lake. But Lake Waiau is at 13,040 feet, so it's pretty high up there. Yeah, you'd have a child, and someone in your family would take the umbilical cord, spend days hiking up Mauna Kea, and then throw the umbilical cord into Lake Waiau. Sometimes it's smaller than others, so you can see that the shoreline is pretty big at times. Other times a little bit smaller, depending on snowmelt, because this is entirely fed by snowmelt. But yeah, it's this tiny little like acre-sized lake at 13,000 feet, and there's no other lake on the entire mountain. There's not really lakes in Hawaii in general. They get some like brackish ponds near shorelines. That's about it. And there's a lake, I think, on Niihau. If I remember correctly. I think there's a lake here. Right? Isn't there a lake? Yeah. Ali'i Lake. And this is more like a depression that has brackish salt water in it than anything else. But for the most part, the volcanic rock does not make a good strata for lakes to form. So having a lake at 13,000 feet on Mauna Kea is quite special. Just don't go swimming in it. Don't do that. It's gross. Okay. Peachy Sunday. Happy birthday, Houston. Have you watched a video about a spike in mysterious deaths by CBN News? No. Send it to me. I'll watch it. Baby Brand, did you feel sick up there? Yeah, that's another thing. If you're going to go up Mauna Kea, do not have gone scuba diving within 24 hours. Don't be pregnant. Don't be really old. Don't have a heart condition. I've watched people pass out. I'll show you where the most hilarious passing out I ever witnessed. So on Saturdays, I would lead tourists. They'd rent their 4x4s or whatever, and they'd follow me up top of the mountain during the day on Saturdays. And we'd go to one of the telescopes, and we'd do a tour of the telescope. Some scientists would tell everyone about the engineering and how the telescope works and everything. But we tell everyone, like, no one over 75, no one under 16, no one who's pregnant, no one's been scuba diving in 24 hours, no one who has medical conditions, heart conditions, whatever. Like, they say, oh yeah, totally. This family, the mom and dad, they're definitely grandma, grandpa age, totally over 75, but they lied and said, no, I'm under 75. And then with their adult children. Okay, so go to the Keck telescope. I can't quite see, but the parking lot of the Keck telescope, there's like these logs that are here that sort of act like, like curbs. They have a little log on a stand, and when we tell people, like, if you're feeling tired, feel free to sit down. Like, no problem, sit down, take a breath. Don't put your hands on your knees and lean over. Do not ever, when you're sitting down, lean over and put your head between your legs, because people just pass out like crazy. So anyway, we did a hike. We had done the hike out to the summit. We'd come back. We're going to do our telescope tour at the Keck. And this old guy, he's looking a little loose. And I'm like, have a seat, man. Sit on that log. And so he sits on the log, and I see him. He's like starting to like put his hands on his knees, and he starts leaning forward. And I'm like, no. And he puts his head between his legs and just somersaults on the ground, just snoring away. His ancient as shit wife comes over. She's like, honey, no, help. And I'm like, lady, stop. And she like bends over to help him. Her head goes below her heart. She passes out. She's asleep on top of him. Their adult son is probably in his 40s. He comes along. He's like, Mom, no. I'm like, stop helping. And he puts his head down. We have this family in a dog pile snoring. All three of them. And I'm like, stop helping. The ranger and I will take care of this. And the minute we got their heads up, they're like, whoa, what happened? What was going on? They just... I had a professor, Dr. Crow. He was a wonderful, very kind man. He's Canadian. He did not do well altitude. He was sent to work on some Canadian National Telescope in Chile. And Chile's even higher. They're like 16,000 feet. And was just a goofy goofer the entire time. And he could not function at altitude. And they're like, well, shit, you're useless. You might be a brainiac astrophysicist, but it doesn't do any good at 16,000 feet. How about we send you to the Canada, France, Hawaii telescope on the big one? It's like 3,000 feet lower. Maybe that'll work out. So they sent him to the Canada, France, Hawaii telescope, and he was useless. He was so bad at his job, he couldn't get anything done. He was tripping and breaking stuff and goofing up. And it's like, okay, we just got you a job at sea level at the college. You can teach astronomy down there at sea level. And he was great for him. But he taught my observational astronomy course with another professor. And we were up the UH-Hilo 1 meter scope, which is this one right here. It's a little dome, little 1 meter telescope. And still at 13,734 feet, almost the absolute summit. This thing's 13,796, I think is the highest part. And it's a little 1 meter telescope, yay, tube on it. And you take your laptop, you plug it in, it's got a program, whatever. And Dr. Crow kept accidentally unplugging the computer. There's a main computer, it's got a plug in the wall, and his foot kept like unplugging the computer. He gets it all, it's booting up, it's good to go, and he takes a step and he unplugs the computer and goes, oh no! And he runs to go plug the computer back in, clotheslined himself on the telescope tube, knocked himself out cold, and just was snoring. And Norman Purvis, he was not a doctor. He's like, just let him sleep. To go much smoother, and takes a drag off his cigarette. And so we just let Dr. Crow just have a sleep. Then we worked at our telescope work. There's also the goofy stories about people at altitude that don't function. Like, there was a guy who was working on one of the telescopes, and he was supposed to come down hours ago. And someone called him like, dude, why aren't you down yet? You're building a railing. It shouldn't take this long. And the guy's like, man, no matter how many times I measure this thing and cut it, it's still too short. And I'm like, just come down. you aren't functioning. Just get down here and that's it. But yeah, it's always fun altitude. Like, as a skier, I handle altitude pretty well. But a lot of people, they've never been in mountains. They don't have the physiology for it. I'm sure everything will operate smoother if we had a bunch of Sherpas or something up there. Oh, wait, you guys weren't seeing it all. I did the entire story and I wasn't looking at the map. Damn it. Okay. Keck telescope, Keck parking lot. There's some logs by the building so you don't run into the building. And then along the summit, there's the 1 meter telescope, the UH-Hilo 1 meter telescope. And the UH-88, I think, is this one? UK Newkirk. Is that the UH-88? Which one's? Yeah, this is UH-88. Okay. Yeah. We got it now. Oh, here's where they want to build the 30 meter telescope. And I don't know if it will ever get built, but they're trying. Definitely trying. 7mm array, SMA, silly made up astronomy, 7 malfunctioning antennas. This was a dumb thing. So they built this thing for 7mm stuff. The problem is looking for like gases of hydrogen out in space, and the wavelengths of light that the 7mm array is looking for is the exact same wavelengths of light that are given off by water molecules in the atmosphere, because there's hydrogen in water. And so, as far as I know, this shit has never done anything. But yeah. Fun times. Lake Wow. All right. Okay. Where are we? MOAS for UAS Houston. If we MOAS, we then have a beer? Nope. I'm a square, baby. And Aaron James knows the elevation wasn't too bad. You're at about 65% the oxygen at 14,000 feet. So you're losing 35% of the air you normally breathe. So your body is like, what is going on? Especially if you come straight from sea level, as most people do when they go up Mauna Kea. Which is why astronomers stay at their hotel, Halipohaku. So at 9,000 feet, down here is a little hotel. And it's got a cafeteria and, you know, billiards and things like that for them. But there's a little hotel right here. And so if you're going to go up, you do observing run, you stay in the hotel for 24 hours and then you go up to work all night on the mountain. And same thing with maintenance people, and all the rangers have little huts and stuff out here. And they do that as well. It's at 9,200 feet here. Did they pave the rest of the way? Or is that still dirt? Oh no, it's dirt still. Okay. Yeah. It's paved to Halipohaku and then dirt all the way until about, I don't know, 12,000 feet. And then it's paved again. Very long base rally. Aaron James had several jackets on. That part definitely wasn't travel brochure. Yes, wear warm clothes if you go up Mauna Kea. It snows up there. You can snow up there any time of the year. It's cold. You're at 14,000 feet. When I was originally packing for college, I was packing all like my ski gear. My mom was like, "What are you doing? You're moving to Hawaii." I'm like, "I know. I'm going to be working at 14,000 feet a couple nights a week. It's cold as hell up there." My first job at Mauna Kea was working for not that way, this way. Was working for Subaru. Can't France. Why Subaru? Yeah, Subaru Telescope. Working for Subaru Telescope, and they do this thing called adaptive optics, where they fire lasers into the atmosphere, and those lasers fired into the atmosphere make fake stars. And then they have outrigger telescopes. These little white things that are around the outside of telescopes all focus on that fake star they make in the atmosphere and look at how the air is moving and how the air is twinkling. And it sends information in real time to the main telescope, which then augments this deformable mirror it has so it can like eliminate the twinkling of the star and get a more stable image. It's a pretty cool process. The problem is the laser can like chop an airplane in half. And so I would sit in a lawn chair for hours, freezing my ass off with a giant button, and there'd be a hula hoop basically above my head. And if I saw anything, a satellite, a plane, anything moving without the hula hoop, I'd hit the button and the lasers would turn off. And then when whatever was in the hula hoop would move, I'd turn the laser back on, and then they would continue their work. It was cold as hell, but I got a free dinner out of it. I didn't do that job for very long. It was pretty miserable. But there's always some poor college student that was doing that. I don't even know if they have that system anymore, or if they've got other stuff they can track, but it was very, very, very basic. Oh man, it was cold. You're just laying there with like 10 jackets on, all their pants, and like 4 blankets and this button to turn the lasers on and off. Okay, where am I? Baby Brand, I've been at ocean level all but a few minutes of my life. Crazy. What? I mean, I'm usually at ocean level, but I go on the mountains many times a year. Michael Mystery, funny how they leave out things like how cold Mauna Kea and all the VOG in town. Yeah, the VOG too also just smells like egg farts and then rusts all your cars. And you can't grow rhubarb in VOG. That's something my friends learned the hard way. Rhubarb does not like VOG very much. That's volcano smog. Or volcano fog, whatever you want to call it. Very sulfur rich. Smells like farts. Makes your throat real scratchy. So like the entire time I was back in on the Big Island 2 falls ago, you know, is it allergies or is it COVID? Over there it was like, is it VOG or do I have COVID? Because, man, my throat was killing me like the whole time. And they had like giant fires near Waikoloa. And that there's all sorts of smoke in the air. Nuclear MOAS. Have you seen the short interest on Octo? I have never heard of Octo Nuclear MOAS, so no. Octo. Chrome. Google Earth off. Bam. Oops, nope. Come on. What are you doing? LB. There we go. Octo Consulting Group. Octo. Short interest. Fintel. Short interest for Octo as of April 5th. 57% short volume. That doesn't tell me. Off exchange short volume. Doesn't tell me anything. I want short interest, not short volume. Okay, somebody else have it. Short interest. 8 holdings. Octo short interest. 1 day to cover. That doesn't seem that impressive. Public float, market cap, short interest 17,000. Doesn't look like very much short interest reported. So I don't know. Maybe they have nakeds out there. Not a clue. Not a clue. Nuclear MOAS. Jay, statistically speaking, is silver more important than gold? I mean, we use silver in more things than gold, but gold holds its value more easily because it doesn't patina. It's a noble metal. It's like the stuff we use gold for, like pretty much only gold can be used for that. It's non-toxic, so you can have it in the human body, so you can make gold teeth and things out of it. It's an excellent conductor of metals, so you want like gold connectors for computer parts, stuff like that. And it doesn't rust, so you're not going to lose any of it to oxidation. Whereas silver can patina quite easily. The silver is also a pretty good conductor, but again, like silver connectors will patina and rust, where gold connectors will not. But silver's used more because it's cheaper and there's more of it out there. Andrew Dole, UK Ape here. No bananas are bananas. We buy both straight and bent. Okay. So some people prefer straight, some people are okay with bent. Okay. We don't even have an option for straight bananas. Like there's no like this is a straight banana aisle. This is the bent banana aisle for those who don't actually care what their bananas look like. We don't have that. You just get, they're all bent. So they must really put all the straight ones to the UK then. Michael, Mr. Redneck's front yard. Funny. Like the multiple cars and yards in Hawaii. Yeah. My house in Hawaii, when I lived in the hippie house, when I was renting from the Hare Krishnas, there was a home that was like kind of kitty corner in front of ours and this giant bush in the front of the house. Then one day I was coming home, the bush was gone, and there was a Mazda 626 that had like the bush had grown over, and there's this car there. And about a month later, the car was gone, bush was back. The per capita use of Roundup and Hilo is higher than like anywhere in the world because the jungle will just take over in a moment. If you are not paying attention, jungle, it's there. You lost the fight. Yeah, that car would like appear and disappear every few months. When food truck. Okay. To be fair, the majority of all the things we use are recycled, even umbilical cords. I mean, You can go swimming in the umbilical cord lake all you want. But Aaron James didn't make it to the lake. Too scared. Figure I might have a spell cast on me. Possible illegitimate umbilical cords in there. Yeah. BW Brand, the story of those people passing out in succession is similar to people entering iron tanks that have no oxygen in them. People going in one after another, no clue as why the ones before them passed out. Oh, because all the gas has been replaced with something else. They're like, huh. I mean, that's kind of how. Have you guys heard about the soda lakes in? Is it Uganda? So in the rift zone, you have all these gases that come out, right? Because there's volcanic action happening, and there's particular lakes where the soda, the CO2 gets released in the lake and then stays. And every once in a while, the lake is at max. Nucleation happens, and just the whole valley fills with CO2, and everyone just falls asleep forever. I think the last time it happened was in the 1970s, and they didn't quite know what had happened until they found the source of all the soda. You were the Sherpa up there. Peach Sunday, not sure if I can post YouTube link here, but might have caused by COVID vaccine. I don't know. Was that the thing that you were asking about earlier? Or was that? Where'd you go, Peachy Sunday? Spike in mysterious deaths, CBN News. Oh. Doubt it? Trans bananas. Sid 54, why is anti-gravity not real? Because gravity is always attractive. As far as we know, there's no way to repel gravity due to the fact that gravity is a bend in space-time. We don't know what we could do to make space-time not bend. So as far as we know, there's no anti-gravity. All right, monkey butt. Are you good? Is it Houston eats chocolate chip cookies time? It might be. I'm attractive to no one though. There's anti-citizen 54s apparently. All right, everybody. This might be it for Monkey Butt and I tonight. I gotta do my taxes tomorrow. If I finish my taxes, then maybe we'll do some GeoGuessr. I was supposed to GeoGuessr last week and I didn't. But I'll be on Twitch. I'll do some GeoGuessr once I finish my taxes. And until then, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you Monday. And things always get weirder. Every day is just absolute weirdness. So, expect the unexpected, right? Okay, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.